Today I'm representing Thai Railway Engineering Association as the Vice President, but professionally I work at the State Railway of Thailand. I'm a railway inspector at the moment. Today my session is going to be like a soft serve ice cream to you guys because this is not technical at all. The reason being I'm not technical, I'm not engineer or anything. I joined the railway 28 years ago as a young girl, graduated in communications, business study and public relations. Coming to work at the railway 28 years ago, it was quite a shock for me because I was amongst many engineers, most of my bosses are engineers, working through a lot of changes for almost 3 decades. I have seen changes in the way the railway is operated and thought of. When I first started, I worked in the foreign affairs. So most of the time I organize international conferences for railway executives. At that time, I also had to take notes. I also have to accompany my bosses. Most of the time, they talk about construction. They talk about how many locomotives the railway would buy. They talk about how many new railway lines has to be built or how to maintain the railway. So clearly, the railway organization was like technical driven. They talk about all these technical terms, and it was more like the playground for them, and service, train service was like not the thing that the boss quite concerns at that moment. Then coming through times, mindset and the way of thinking of the railway bosses have changed quite a lot, especially with the more coming of the commuter trains, of the metro in Bangkok. The way of thinking of the executive was more holistic. Look at the service size of the railway, more like the construction size or the engineering size of the railway, which was a good thing. Because, from my personal experience, I've seen that without looking at the service size or the soft size of the business, the railway was so technical concerned, was like, there was one time, it was quite a pain point for me, and the kind of stuck in my mind when I come into working as the human resource development position. When SRT wanted to do airport rail link, the system originally, it should have been part of the late line development with the branch line going into the airport. Then with the use of the timetabling, we could set a special service to serve the airport, sharing track with the conventional line. But technically speaking, they wanted to try out the standard gauge track. So that section was designed as a dedicated track of the using the standard gauge of only 25 kilometers. Financially, the project couldn't survive, but technically, they want to try it. And then one of the bosses said, "I am an engineer. Whatever gauge they want to build, I can build it." And I asked him back, how about the passengers? How about their convenience? How about cost effectiveness of the project? He said, that's not my concern. How sweet. So from that point onward, I thought to myself, if I would be able to help with the way of thinking of the railway, if I would be able to somewhat, persuade the railway bosses to think beyond the technical point, to think of ourselves, of the railway organization as a service company or service organizations, I would do it. And luckily, about 4 years ago in 2019, I was appointed as the head of training center. My day has come. So I decided to do my PhD. So what I'm gonna talk to you today is gonna be like a mixture of personal and professional experience, and also inspiration why I want to talk about competency model for railway executives. I decided to do a PhD in the industrial business development and also human resource development, and this is my PhD research. When we look at the competency of the executive, you have to understand the executive is someone who manage things, who execute things, but not operator, not technician. They have to go beyond the technical side of the management to go into the execution side, the managerial side of the business. So to do the competency model for railway executive is quite challenging, and I was afraid whether or not they would accept my idea or they would agree to be part of my research. But this would be the first competency model ever for the State Railway of Thailand as a complete set. So I hope that would be useful, and I hope that would be applicable for other rail organizations as well. To begin my research, I asked what kind of challenges railway executives are facing. I am part of the team, of the executive team as well. And you can see that with the arrival of the internet, we talk about digital, we talk about technology, and things moving so fast. Speed of change for any organization just like massive. It's quicker than you imagine. It's just like quicker than a blink of an eye. So, and you can see the, in the panel discussion this morning, we talk about digital transformation. We talk about so many things. So I'm not going to go into much detail of the arrival of the digital era and the effect it has on us all as the executive. When you look at the policy, you see that the national strategy, also the National Economic and Social Development Plan and Transportation Development Plan, we don't talk about how to get people from A to B anymore. We don't talk about how to move freight from A to B. We don't talk about how many lines that we have to build, but we talk about customer expectation. We talk about their satisfaction. We talk about their experience. We talk about integrations of technology and transportation together to ensure the ultimate comfort for the users. We talk about green energy. We talk about inclusiveness. We talk about efficiency of transportation. It's go way beyond technical side. Technical side is just a support for that, if you look into that. So this is things that railway executives have to be aware of. We have heard about so many words like decarbonizations, BCG model for the business, alternative fuels. We don't talk about fossil fuel anymore. So, all these things has to sink in. The railway executive have to understand all this and have enough knowledge to catch up with this, and also skills to somewhat implement all this into the system, into their work. And you can see, this is, when I see this, I have to say that this is like something I can't imagine to see, because when I started working for the railway 28 years ago, I had a chance to kind of accompany some of the bosses. And a lot of the time I have heard questions like, if the railway still operate at loss, why do we have to invest for you? Why do we have to allow budget for you? The railway in the past was judged on profit. It was not quite the correct mindset when you talk about public service or public utilities. Luckily, a lot of work had to be done. I can't say it by luck. It's by hard effort of the railway executive. We try to educate the policy planners. We try to talk to the higher levels authorities to understand the real concept of having the railway in the country. Fortunately, some policy planners understand. Fortunately, someone listened to us. Unfortunately, this kind of investment actually happened in Thailand. With this kind of massive investment, meaning what? Meaning the economic growth for the country, meaning distributions of wealth, meaning the relocations of people, meaning more convenience for the people, meaning social benefit. It doesn't mean profit. It's been benefit. So the railway executive also has to look at this and go beyond the thinking of how are we going to move people from A to B, but how are we going to support all this national wealth and growth. And you can also see that the railway ecosystem has changed quite a lot. When I started working, I only know SRT, the State Railway of Thailand, and Ministry of Transport. These two organizations were the key player in the railway world. Now later we have SRT-ET, which is the subsidiaries of SRT to operate Airport Link, because it's a dedicated system. Then we have the blessing of the metro lines in Bangkok. With that coming, it makes the country realize the benefit of railway lines as the backbone of other transportation system. Then we started hearing words like feeder system, distributor system. Before that, SRT was like doing everything. We carry people in, then we have to stop. Once we get into the vicinity of the CBD, we have to stop at every stop just to let people go into their work. Now we have like a network of feeder and distributor to support each other and to distribute people into CBDs easier. And we see the benefit, the country see the benefits of the railway to reduce costs of transportation, to reduce emission, to reduce traffic jams and so forth. And also the benefits of the railway to support the growth of the economy. Then we have the emerging of Department of Rail Transport as a regulator, which is something that the railway wanted for so long, because before that we are like self-regulated organizations and you can't do it all. Just like you go into the football field playing football and be a referee at the same time. It's insane. So with the emerging, with the arrival of the Department of Rail Transport, what we can see here is that the rail industry would be more regulated, would be more proper, with someone to design the right policy for the whole industry. When the railway can concentrate on improving their service, their operations, we do what we have to do and we don't have to do what we don't have to do. And also the establishment of the Rail Technology and Research Development Agency, still quite mouthful, RTRDA, I have to get used to this. You can see that, with this, the speed of change and development for the rail industry, I think it's not gonna double, but triple, or even more. Because we join forces, we have so many agencies now to join forces to develop the rail industry as a whole. And we also have suppliers who are growing in business as well and also, have a lot of knowledge to help with the industry. Meaning what? Meaning the executive of the railway and the railway itself have to refocus and redefine itself, redefine its purpose of being. And I'm just so happy to see that the visions and goal of SRT has also changed. Prior to this, we vow to be the best operator, the best government-owned rail operator in ASEAN. Our vision before was like concentrate to ourselves. We don't care about anyone. We just want to be the best version of ourselves, and that's it. But with the, all those things that I talked to you about, with more investments, more agencies to help us develop the, to help develop the rail industry, with more partner to do, and better understanding of our role. You see, our vision has changed. We want to become a logistic and connectivity platform to fulfill stakeholders' expectation. Man, it was like when I started working with the railway, we don't care about stakeholders. We hardly talk about stakeholders. We talk about customer. We talk about freight forwarders. We don't care about anyone. We just want to get our train on time or on track still, not off track. But now the railway has looked into itself, looked at the service and all four components of transportation in a more holistic way. Thinking about how to be a platform for community, how to be a platform for developments of the towns we are in, how do we connect with our ecosystem, how do we connect with our surrounding neighbors and all that. That change visions and goal require change mindset, change knowledge, change skills, and change attributes of the executive as well. And with that, you can see this is the study of the operation for an operator, in this case is SRT. Before we concentrate with just, the long distance trains, short distance trains, a bit of the land development and leasing and all that. But with all the investments, with all the, other partners to help in the industry, we, at part of the rail industry, we look into ourselves into more and more complex operations. Of course, we still do our core business of the long distance train, short distance train, but we will have like high-speed trains. We will have, we kind of segment our service into our business into different market differentiation as well. We also look into the non-core business that would support the industry. Apart from the land development and leasing, one of the things we talk about is we want to be a hub for human resource development for the rail industry. We are working in cooperation with RRTC to establish what we call at this time Rail Academy. We also work with Hub of Talent. Dr. Ponsak. We want to play a part in help develop the most valuable asset of the industry, which is human resource. As you may know that the SRT also have the Railway Technical School. So we produced and developed human resource in the rail industry, and we want to expand this role as well so that we can support the rail industry as a whole. Before, with the Railway Technical School, before we used to produce students, when they graduated, we employ them 100%. So they concentrate within the railway, becoming technicians, technical levels in the railway, and then work their way up. But now, we don't recruit 100% of them, we recruit part of them, and then let the rest out into the industry. Though they have liberty to work anywhere they want, and we have also consulted with the stakeholders, like other companies, other businesses in the rail. What kind of students they want, what kind of graduate they want, what kind of competency our graduates should have, so that we could support the industry as a whole. So with that, when I conducted my research, I had interviewed a lot of executive in the rail industry, like the Deputy Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Transport, the Board of Commissioner of SRT, the CEO of the Leadership Development Company, people from TRIST, which is the organization, the evaluator of the state enterprise performance and all that. And I've come with this interesting competency model that the new era executive of the railway have to have. And surprisingly, the first knowledge they agree that they should know is the visions and goal of the company, of the railway itself, which is quite surprising because when I conduct my research, some of the executive actually said, somewhat, I don't know what I'm working for, or what aim or what visions of the organization is. So I don't know how to serve it. So it's quite crucial then that the executive have to understand the visions and the goals of the company so that they can work accordingly and they can align their performance to that of the visions of the railway. And obviously they have to understand the art and the science of logistics. They have to understand how to manage their organizations. But interestingly, these two knowledge, they identify that within the digital era, they want to know more about technology that could help them in these two aspects. One is the service information technology, which is the forefront of their business size. How to serve the customer, how to give them the best experience using technology as the aid. And on the back side, they also want to to understand about technology that would help them to manage the service. Things like, AFC, things like data dashboards, big data, and things like that. So you see that they don't talk about transportation anymore. they talk about management, they talk about technology, and they talk about to give customer experience that would impress them. And with the skill that they said they wanted to have, I think it's kind of same set of skills that we all know, like analytic thinking and decision making, which is obviously being an executive, you have to be able to do that. Strategic implementation, this is very interesting. They want to know how to transform visions into implementation, something they care for, something they desire. Also the change management. Before, when we talk about change management, the first group of people who would resist change is the executive. Because change means loss of something they have at hand. But nowadays, executives understand that change is, coming. Change is unavoidable, and they want to be able to manage that change. If they have to lose something, they have to lose it in style and with their own handling, which is something quite interesting. Also, systematic management. I say that the railway executive want to see things in a more holistic approach now. They want to do something in a more systematic, in a more systematically style. When we talk about attribute, being visionary, being role model, being full of ethics is something we've seen quite a lot. People say, oh, I want to be a good example for other people. I want to be executive with this attribute. But the last attribute that surprised me is they said, I want to be executive with creativity. Before that, executive would say, you as a PR, you as a marketer, you create something, and I approve it. But now they want to manage with creativity, which is something quite surprising and not surprising at the same time. Because, if you have to manage change and you have to go through change systematically, you have to be creative. You can't do the same thing and expect different outcome. So with that, I'm quite happy with this competency model. And from the interview and also from the research, we found that the executive also are quite aware of internal and external factors that would affect their thinking, their way of succeeding as well, which is the, technology regarding the service information, compliant with international standards, which is like, get the more competitive, and also the rail supporting government policy, which is like being a pain in the back of the rail executive all the time. But surprisingly, they also want to see this factor, which is participative digital transformation of the organization. So you can see that the mindset of the executive at the moment are not talking about technical things anymore. They talk about the soft side of management. They talk about communication. They talk about collaborations, which is very good sign. So I hope that this competency model would inform you of how the railway executive are thinking at the moment, and hopefully that it would be, applied and developed into training courses for the executive and probably be applicable for other railway agencies as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kanrawee. Yes. Being the railway executive is not that easy, but anyway, yes, we could do that with the training and everything together because we have everyone here already. And thank you for giving us a point of view to going beyond the technical side, but actually we have to care about other external things, economic growth, people, and everything. So yeah, we got a bigger point of view on the rail executive already now. Yeah, so next, that would be the question.
Does the model, the model that you presented, I would like to ask about the competency that you do in your research. This is the data that you collected from Thai executive. So I'm not sure if this model can also apply to any countries, or maybe you have some case study from outside, like in Europe or in America, that they might have different problems or have different models, or this can also apply to any countries.
Well, this is a PhD research, so we have to set the scope first, okay? And preliminarily, I was like the head of the training of the railway. So my primary expectation is the model to be used within the organization first. But if you can see the leadership theories that I use is just like the international, common theory, like David McCallan's and also the grid management and all that. So I guess with the basic competency set are like quite universal, but with the knowledge and skills and attributes, I think it universal. It could be applied to other rail operators as well, with probably some details hidden in each categories. However, if other rail operator wanted to be more specific to themselves, they could do further research or adjust some of the elements in there. Hope that answer your question.
Okay, so I think this is all the question, and we're gonna go for lunch. And thank you so much for having this session. And yeah, we can know how the future that we can train more people and to have like the competency skill to be a real executive. So thank you so much, Dr. Kanrawee.